guys, it's Sarah and I am here to tell you what I finished up in the BookBuddyathon. So the BookBuddyathon is a readathon that happened last week, and I partnered up with my friend Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library, who I will leave linked down below. She's wonderful. And we buddy read a book together, and then I did complete one other challenge and made a little bit of progress in another one. So it wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be. And I only read one book that was on my TBR. So yeah, my week ended up being a little bit more crazy than I thought it was going to be, so I didn't have as much time for reading than I thought, but it's okay. I still made some good progress and things. So the first challenge was to buddy read a book, and that is what we did. We ended up reading Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate, and I listened to this book on audio, and oh my gosh, this book. Oh, this is a historical fiction, and it is based on true events, which was the most heartbreaking part of this whole book. It follows a prominent family who is very famous politically, and you follow the daughter of a senator, I think he's a senator, and you follow his daughter. So she is kind of following in his footsteps a little bit, trying to follow the family lineage and go into politics and everything. She's engaged, but she's kind of feeling like something's not quite right. She comes across a woman who thinks that she's someone else, and she ends up recognizing a bracelet that she's wearing. This older woman does, and therefore thinks that she's someone else. So this opens a lot of questions, and she starts questioning a lot of things about her family and who is this woman and how does she know my grandmother and all this sort of stuff. Her grandmother is also dealing with dementia, so she's not really answering many of her questions. Very interesting. Now, this also has a dual timeline, so it's today and then it's in 1939 when these events that were happening is, part of this whole story. So the events that were in 1939 that this older woman was a part of, and it is a story of an orphanage called the Tennessee Children's Home Society, and the woman that runs it, her name is Georgia Tann, and the way that they ran this orphanage is that they kidnapped children and stole children from parents unbeknownst to them. They had many different ways of doing this and getting away with it. She had a judge in her pocket, and the judge would sign off on any paperwork that she needed to make it all legal, and you can't dispute it. And that's how they ran their orphanage. They ended up selling these children to wealthy families. So politicians and actors and actresses and famous people who would pay big bucks for a child. And that's how it happened. These children were extremely abused in this orphanage, and it was all covered up to make it look like they weren't, and to make it look like Georgia Tann was a saint and, doing great works for these children, and oh, how wonderful are you? No, she was awful, and she was real, which is really hard and sad. And I ended up, looking her up and doing a little bit of research on her. It's insane. I want to read more about this now. I want to read some nonfiction about it, but yeah, it was so heartbreaking, and I can't believe that this stuff actually happened and that it was allowed to go on. It's insane to me. I really like the dual timeline perspective of it as well. I liked what was happening in the present too, because I thought that Avery was a great character. She's the daughter, and some things that she was going through in her life were very interesting, and there was a great love interest that I really liked. It's not her fiance. So yeah, it was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed this one, and I ended up giving it 5 stars, and Lindsay enjoyed it just as much, and we had a lot of fun talking about it. The second book that I finished was not on my TBR, but it is a book that I needed to read for review, and I'm going to have a review for this up in the next couple of days. So I'm not going to go too much into my thoughts here because I'm going to have a review soon, but It is a review book, and it is Go Ask Fanny by Elizabeth Hyde. And this one, when I looked at all the challenges, it can definitely be a new book because this just came out last week. And I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It's a family drama, and it's kind of an adult contemporary type thing, but it follows a family and just some of the issues that they're going through and that they're forced to face when they come together for a weekend at their father's house. And yeah, so the drama was really good, and I really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. So yeah, but I will have a separate review video for this up later this week. And then the book that I picked for friendship was Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Now, I did not finish this. I'm still only on page 606, but I did read 100 pages of it. So that's definitely progress in here. I was only on page 500. And again, I'm really enjoying it when I pick it up and I read it. It's just, my biggest problem is I pick it up at night when I'm in bed and I fall asleep within 10 minutes. So I'm not making a big dent at a good amount of time at any given time. But I have started listening to the audiobook of it. Actually, my mom listened to this recently and she said, the audiobook is really good if you want to go that way instead. And I was like, you know what? I think I might, because I think that's just gonna help me. If I'm doing it during the day, even when I'm doing other things, I can actually like listen to a good chunk at a time. And that definitely did help. So I'm 100 pages further in here, although I didn't finish it, but I do plan to finish it up in the month of April, and I'm going to continue with the audiobook, and the audiobook is great. So from what I've listened to so far, I've really enjoyed it. But yeah, so this will be a goal to finish up in April. And that's it, guys. Those are 3 books that I worked on for the BookBuddyathon. 2 I finished, 1 I made some progress in. So it wasn't a complete failure. I just didn't read any of the books aside from my buddy read that was on my TBR. And I did not read 5 books, like not even close. So it's all right. I still had a lot of fun with my buddy read and, you know, making progress in these 2 as well. So it wasn't, you know, a fail. It was just a little different than I expected it to go. Please leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you participated, how well you did, and if you have read any of the books that I talked about here, let me know as well. If you are a historical fiction fan and you have not read Before We Were Yours, I highly, highly recommend that one. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And that is going to be it for me today. So I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day. Bye.